Today I'm working on 2011 Q5, and this one kept having a misfire on cylinder number 2, and the owner had someone change the ignition coil, plug, and sensor, but it was still continuing to do that. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the intake manifold, because most commonly I've seen is injectors, they get dirty, and no one, that's pretty much what it needs. I'm going to go ahead and work on removing the intake manifold. It's very straightforward. You got this brace bar that has to be removed from the bottom, and there's a screw. You need this special socket here. It's M10. It's better you get a set like that. If you remove all these plugs here, you don't have to remove a whole lot of other wirings on this. It's better to remove this vacuum here, and you need the PCV line disconnected. That's pretty straightforward. Remove this harness from the sensor. I just take out my filter. I always take out my throttle body if it's in my way. Make sure you cover the throttle body holes while you're working. You don't want any contamination, dirt. If you remove any hose, do the same to the hoses. Now, I think once you remove those, you have this one sensor here under that you need to disconnect, because that harness is separate. Then you need a tool like this to pry out the harness mount pin, which is right there. Where's my camera pointing? Snap. Oh, right there. Just snap it out. And there's this water line bolted on. Just remove the bolt, and I always put the bolts back in. That way you don't lose any. The next step is I'm going to remove the intake manifold bolts. You don't want to remove these. You only want to remove these. So that way you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll come back once I have the intake manifold removed. It's a little tricky once you have all the screws removed, just because it's been sitting there for a while. So the OEM, the injectors and their seals are pretty tight. So even though it's difficult to remove, make sure you're not tugging on things and breaking something else. It's always a good idea to look around and see what's in the way. This here is a fuel line. I don't really remove so much of it. Just remove the bolt holding the bracket down. Leave the bolt back in. You can see that right there, flange holding the fuel line. I will remove that. It's better to open it and remove the line completely, so your intake manifold comes out without any restrictions.